we would like to kick off a session that will explore how to link inclusivity to innovation. Welcome, everyone. This session will invite two panelists to share their perspectives in a discussion on the issue of achieving greater diversity among Japan's leaders and the importance of Yokohama's role in creating global synergy. I will now invite Ms. Yu Shinagawa to kindly serve as our moderator for this session. Ms. Shinagawa, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. And hello, everyone. This is Yu, and I'm the moderator for this session. And thank you for having us for the very last session before the closing session. So I am the founder of the Annahao, and I will be introduced by myself later. But today, under the topic of the diversity and inclusion, we have wonderful panelists from a very different background. So first, we would like to introduce ourselves and why we think diversity and inclusion is matter for the open innovation. And after that, how we can make actually taking action for that. So that's the third part, 3 topics for today. So we only have the 30 minutes. I'd like to start for introducing our amazing panel. So, okay, are you ready for... I'm a little bit nervous. Okay, so, but Christina, are you ready to introduce yourself?
Yes. My name is Christina Fürstenau. I was born and raised in Germany, and I've always had a passion for the service industry, so I studied international hospitality management, then moved to the UK to study marketing as my master's degree, and in the UK I actually met my husband, so I stayed there for my first job in the tourism industry, and then together we moved to China, and that's where my journey started in international schools, working in admissions and marketing.
Can we have some slides on the screen? Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, there you can see a few photos of where I've lived. And I've been a resident in Yokohama now for 5 years, and I can really call it my home now. It's been really wonderful to live here. And I've been working at St. Mo International School ever since coming to Yokohama as the Director of Marketing and Communications. And I've really enjoyed being here in this really diverse international environment.
Thank you. Actually, I went her St. Mo International School Christmas Bazaar last weekend. It's really full of diversity, and people really enjoyed and respecting each other's cultural differences. So, yeah, I'm really curious how you create that kind of atmosphere. So let me ask later. So now, Elena, it's your turn. Please introduce yourself.
Hello. My name is Irena Inumaru. And my mother is Japanese and my father is Serbian. So I was born in Serbia, where I studied graphic design and illustration. And I lived everywhere, mostly in Serbia, but then I also lived in Japan, where I went to international school in Hiro. And I also lived in the UK. And now I'm back in Japan again.
Thank you. And the slide again, please. お願いします. Okay. Now you have your...
Yeah, there you have my bio. I work as a creative director in Userbase. And I also am a part of the DIB committee, which stands for Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging. Yeah, this is just a quick slide of where I lived all my life. So I was actually born in Yugoslavia, and that country doesn't exist. So yeah, I had a very diverse background.
Thank you. So both of you have a very different and diverse background, especially from the cultural perspective, and you have experience in living in a different countries. So actually, I was born and raised in Japan, only lived in Japan, so I really want to now learn from you later on. So after this, let me introduce about myself. So I am the CEO of the company called Annahao. What we do is providing a diversity and inclusion training. My passion is creating a global inclusion to create innovation in Japan. So we started on the whole in 2019, right before the COVID, right before the border is closed. So we are very struggle, but now it's cross border is opening again, have more international students, and we are trying to create more multicultural environment in the Japanese population, and also providing supporting working with the city of Yokohama to help foreign entrepreneurs to start their business in Yokohama. And also be part of the many activities such as women leadership community and also youth leadership community, and also the local community to make something for making a better society. So those three are the today's speakers for the last session before the closing. So I'd like to ask you, like, I think we have very different background, but we have very different profession, like marketer and creative director and entrepreneur. But we already, as we discussed, we really think diversity is the key for both of us to be success. So I'd like to ask you, what makes you feel, what do you think that's the reason for the importance of the diversity and inclusion? So can I ask Christina first to share your story?
So I've lived in quite a few different countries and realized you really need diversity and inclusion to make sure everyone's voice is heard and people can really feel a sense of belonging. And only together as a team, working together, and everyone brings their own experiences and can be really authentic. Only that way we can be really creative and open-minded and learn a lot of new things and achieve greater things together. That's why I think it's really important.
So living in different countries, and it gives you new ideas of how you think or how you do, like how to cook your breakfast or something. And it gives you new ideas and new inspiration. That gives you more curiosity and open-minded, and then you also eager to learn from others. That is your key experience from the past. Thank you. So how about Irina? You also as we discussed before, I saw your strong passion about diversity and inclusion. What makes you to feel that way? What's the real turning point or any moments you think it's important?
So, as I mentioned in the beginning, my father is Serbian and my mother is Japanese, and those two are very different cultures. And since I was born, I was questioning my identity. I was trying to define my identity because as the Japanese say, the atarimae, like the normal things in both countries are very, very different. And my father and my mother had different values, and I was always questioning, which is my value? So this was one of the first thoughts of identity, what's normal, and what should I do to communicate myself and how to belong in every place that we lived abroad? Because you stay the same, but as you move around, when the context changes, you're accepted differently. So it makes you wonder, why does this happen?
So makes you wonder is, I think, the key. Why it is happening? What's the normal for you? Why I think so? And so you, in the home, both of your parents having a different value, so you are trying to questioning all the time. And who you are, maybe you are asked so many questions to yourself. Yeah. Maybe that gives you more diversity, or the difference is the key for you too.
Yeah. I never took anything for granted. I was maybe a child who thinks too much, but I was always thinking about the meaning of everything. So
I love the idea that you say you can say criticizing, or you can say I don't like it, the other ones the different ways, but you can say I'm wondering why people doing this, why I'm doing this. So that's more positive, optimistic way to accepting the differences. So maybe I guess everyone understanding why we think diversity and inclusion is the key, and we also think the commitment, driving the diversity and inclusion, we need strong commitment. It's not easy. it takes time. And it's not comfortable, actually. But we also believe, this is our belief, but still it's also the foundation of creating the open innovation or creating a better society. So I would like to move on to the next topic, that how the connection between the diversity and inclusion to the business impact or open innovation. So please open the slides, please. Okay, so before I'm asking to the panels, I'd like to share some like a quick insights about what's the status quo in Japan. The one shocking score is only 5% of its employee in Japan has engaged to their workplace, which is 95% is not engaged to their workplace. That's one of the lowest rank compared to the other countries. And also for the world talent ranking. So Y-Ship is asking for many international people coming to Japan. But actually Japan ranked 43rd. And the reason why for the criteria means the lowest rank for the language barrier, and also lack of the international experience, and lack of the skill for the management. So we need to change this situation. And then if we do not, by 2040, we will be expecting have labor shortage up to 11 million. It's huge. So with this, we believe that inclusiveness is the key to change this situation. Like you can see from the Deloitte Insights, there's just many aspects or data already shows that diversity or inclusive culture benefits the business impact. But it's kind of still it's not really clear or specific enough. So I'd like to share that this is also the process, how actually we can create more business outcome. We're starting from the inclusive leaders, and we have the leaders who respect each diversity. People feel more belonging, and they feel I am valued. I have a voice to be heard. And that gives them our feeling for the engagement 70% up. And which means they can have more good team, and they can have more better discussion, which leads to the decision-making quality, and of course, increase more team collaboration. So now I'd like to ask Elena that as a user base is a rapid growing company doing the business globally, but originally from Japan. Now you initiate this initiative like DEIB committee. Why you think it's important, how you're trying to engage the employees, your members to DEIB, and what's the importance for your organization? Could you tell us about this?
So user base provides business intelligence, like business information to business people through many products like Newspeaks and Speeda and etc. And we have a diverse members in our company, not only by nationality, but by profession. So we have engineers and business people and designers and many more. So since the beginning, because of this diverse talent, we have one of the 7 values that we find very important is, in Japanese, it's Ino Wasai no, which means, in English, we translated it as, we need what you bring. So we kind of value each person's special skill or your special something that will create innovation in our company. So it cannot be measured by the same ruler. And we value this 7th value is very important to us. But there was no diversity and inclusion committee since the beginning, but this value kind of was very similar to what we're trying to do now with the committee. And but when you don't feel like a minority, you don't feel like there's any issues, and you feel like there's no problem. But one of the initiating things was when our CEO heard about the Black Lives Matter problem, he kind of wondered, is there really equality in the opportunity for each member in our company, as we are just striving to do? And we did like a questionnaire, and more than 1/3 of people said no. So this was very shocking to us, and this needed a concrete movement of its own. And that's when the committee kind of started. And this chart that you see on the screen was created by me and some other members of the committee, where we kind of placed what does diversity mean, and is it something we need to achieve, or so this was a tool to kind of express what we feel to other members, so we have a very similar understanding.
So I think like now in the common sense, like diversity and inclusion is not the real like a new word for the society, like a Japanese society anymore. But DEI, like diversity, equity, and inclusion, is also like now some people know it. But I think belonging is not really common in Japan yet. So why you also include that part? What do you think is important?
So in the beginning, we also only had diversity inclusion, and since we started the disability employment, then we added equity. But for me, it was a bit strange, like, what are these things for? Like, what are we striving for? Is it wellness? Is it happiness? Is it more proactivity? And then through research, I came to this word belonging, which was used in other countries and other companies in Europe and America, and it really was very close to our value. And if you don't have a sense of belonging, you cannot be proactive enough. You cannot have the authority to do whatever you want. And since there's artificial intelligence, like people need to do what only people can do. And I think people need to feel the sense of belonging in order to be very proactive in their communities.
Thank you. I really, those who are interested in DIV, I really want to take a look at their DI full report for the user base. It's really, really specific, clear, and easy to understand. It's really insightful. And I want to ask one more question to you, that in the full report, that you mentioning that there's some do think and do not. Like if you do sense of belonging, there's some specific action will be expected.
Oh, yeah.
Could you also a little bit talk about like any example? Maybe people can, the audience can understand more clearly about the statements or the idea for the DIV.
Yeah, so we have, in our company, we have like a purpose and also values that we, that help us, guide us, like how to behave, like how to work. And we also changed there's also like 34 promises, which are do's and don'ts of the values. So you can know the concrete stuff. Like sometimes when you hear something philosophical, you don't really know in practice how to manifest that. But we, by creating do's and don'ts, we know what kind of concrete actions are bad or good for this. So we updated the promises that are linked to our values. So for example, like one of the newest ones was like question your bias. And like you have to notice if you have bias, but every person has a bias, but you kind of forget that you're biased and you feel like, no, I'm okay, I'm very fair, and I'm very I know everyone, but actually you don't. So you need to kind of remind yourself that you have to question yourself all the time. And that's one of the promises that we added there.
Thank you for sharing. So I think like the diversity is a really broad idea, like concept. So it's making the, as you mentioned, make it in practice is important to have like specific action that people can follow. So thank you for sharing that. And now Irina talking about what matters in the business narrative, but those people working at the organization, of course, living in a community. So I'd like to also ask Christina, as a school, as a platform for the international people living in Japan or living in Yokohama, to have the access to the local community. So in the slide, she will be showing about her local activity in the Samuel International School. So, okay, slide, please.
So at St. Maur International School, we have over 40 different nationalities. not just within our student body, but also within our faculty and staff. And that really allows us on a daily basis to share our kind of cultural heritage and how we're different and give us different perspectives and learning experiences. And one of the biggest programs that we established quite a few years ago is the Adult Enrichment Program. And actually we have about 5 to 10 classes a day for our parents, and most of them are free of charge. And some of them are led by parents for other parents, and for some of them we also get external instructors to teach about, for example, Japanese language classes, French language classes, Brazilian cooking. Like everyone brings their culture to the table and teaches about that. And I think that's a really good way to include other people. And when expats come to Yokohama, they immediately feel welcome. They're part of our community. It's not that they send their child to our school, but they're part of like our big community. And we also have a lot of events at the school. For example, the Christmas Bazaar we just hosted, and Food Fair and Japanese Day. There's so many different opportunities also for our alumni and for parents to be part of that and experience that on a daily basis.
That's really interesting. Like that maybe Samoa has many international parents who has expats and expect to live in Japan for like a few years, and it's so easy for their partner, like those who are expats, and there is a partner there, so they have limited visa, so that they are not allowed to work in Japan. But you give them a space to actually understanding more about the local community, and I'm really like amazed to see that how you make efforts on this. Like, why you think it's really important, and what's the reaction from the parents?
Actually, we send out a survey to all of our families whenever they go back to their home countries, and almost every family mentions that through that adult enrichment program and through our parent support group, they're immediately part of a big group. They immediately can find friends. You know, sometimes it's a bit hard when you come to a new country and you don't know anyone, but in this way, we have the support system for them. And we also want everyone to feel like, you know, they can be who they are, and we can teach each other, and we're all in this together. We're all one community. So that's why I think it's really important. And also there's this whole lifelong learning philosophy. So the children can see that their parents are still learning. Learning never ends, you know. Even when you leave school, you always continue to learn. So I think that's great.
Like, I think that's also perfectly said, like, what's the importance of the sense of belonging. Like, how their experience in living in Japan is rich or not, which is, gives them, more motivation for the future to come back to Japan. Or maybe even if they are living in the other side of Japan, but still want to connect, or they know the local community they can work with. So I think like, actually this is one of the inspiration I got from you, that I only think like, the initiative in the organization, diversity and inclusion training, or DIB committee, or employee resource group. But outside of the organization, we can have some stakeholder like the school to give them more another alternative community that they can feel more sense of belonging and supporting community. So thank you very much. And wow, it's already 7 minutes left. We can continue talking this topic for the 4 more hours. But I'd like to ask, so what is the after Elena, now you are just starting this DIV committee, maybe like 1 year or something?
It's since 2021.
21, so
yeah.
2 years now.
Yes.
So what is the potential, what the possibility you see, and what's the challenges you have? Could you share more about this?
So in the beginning, we came up with commitments that were, the very important step in creating a committee was to include part of the leadership. So members really see that this is not something nice to have, but this is something we must do as a company. So our chief people's officer became the leader for the committee. And then we came up with the commitments that we'll update every year and come back to if we have realized them or not. So having these concrete things made us made this theory more important. And also, it's interesting how we started with these concrete big issues, but then people started coming up like naturally, like, oh, I really feel like there should be something more about, for example, foreign members, like we have to include them more, like we have to create like a all company meeting in English. And some people are also working on like the women empowerment program. And I'm also starting the neurodiversity community, which is still in work in progress. So there's some natural like communities that kind of come up and become part of this big movement. So it's interesting how people kind of are inspired by each other to create more, not fairness, like in many angles.
Thank you. Like, it's all starting from the strong commitment from the top management or someone who has really passionate about it. But gradually, people understanding, oh, we can say this, or we can do this. And then now is the time to people are standing up.
Yeah, people start to notice that you're allowed to say, like, oh, I would be really creative if only you could change this for me. Like, I would be really innovative if you help me do this. So I feel like this is very empowering to everyone.
Great. Thank you for sharing. So, Christina, do you have any thoughts or any like challenges you have or anything you want to challenge in the near future?
I think a point that you just made that was really good is like, it's so kind of infectious. Once some people start making a change, you also feel motivated to make a change as well. So I hope that we can keep doing that and keep growing and be more diverse and inclusive. And also, you know, I think I want to encourage people to also consider other people's perspectives when making decisions and choices and really think about that. You know, also like you said before, like, I don't know, in Germany, one thing is normal, but then in Japan, something else is normal. So we just need to question sometimes, what is normal for us? How do we define that? What is, you know, what is the best choice, in each opportunity?
Yeah. And as we spoke before, like innovation is it's never a comfortable process. Innovation never comes for comfortability or like routine. And whenever you go back to stories about inventions and some new things that changed the world, it's usually like a small mistake or someone new who came up with something uncomfortable and suggested something different. So the company is always like, it's not an easy process. There's many mistakes to be made, but through these mistakes, I think something very much better can be born.
So both of you said that importance of the being exposed to the different world, like not just in the people who understand 100% about you or more similar to you, but trying to be exposed sometimes can be a little bit uncomfortable, but trying to stretch yourself to communicate with somebody who has different mind or different value. And that can give you new question, a good question to deepen understanding yourself, or maybe gives you a space to have think about, oh, that can be another option. I only think this way, and it sucked. But politically correct. But it is stuck, and oh, sorry. But if you have someone who around you have a different mindset, maybe okay. If I were you, how can we have the new solution? So that kind of a new perspective is only coming from not from yourself, but actually you can get from the communicating with others.
One of our promises that I just mentioned are like, look around yourself and notice if the same people are doing the same things, like if the same people are deciding the important things. So look around and maybe include some other people to change it up.
Thank you. So, since I'm so thankful to have this session as a part of our YSHIP Open Innovation International Convention, because they value diversity and inclusion. So, since we have so many diverse people coming to this venue today. For closing this session, I would like to call to action to the audience before you leave today, since I think we have students, we have entrepreneurs, we have government, we have foreigners, like a non-Japanese, like a multicultural people. So please make one new friend you never meet before. So that gives you new questions and gives you understanding new ideas and gives you new solution for your business maybe. So I want to take a moment before you leave to exchange business card or just say hi or just grab the coffee before you leave and have the new insights and have a new friend from all over the world. Okay, so time flies so fast. Now, thank you very much for having here and sharing your insights. And now I'm call back to Lisa for closing.
Okay, thank you very much. That was a really great discussion. Thank you so much.